7:33 to play, second period. Buffalo in front, 1-0. Unassisted goal by Perreault.
In the game so far, the hometown Sabres have outshot the Rangers 23-8. So in this period, Buffalo has had 8 shots on goal to 5 for New York. Esposito with DeBlois and Newman on the wings out against the Perreault, Robert, and Martin line, the French connection for Buffalo. From the face-off, here's Gabremont for Robert. Robert, number 14, moves into the Ranger zone. Maloney blocked his shot. Now Maloney tied up on the boards and will have another face-off, this time in the New York zone.
A lot of coaches don't take too much stock in shots on goal, but I think they would in a game like tonight, where your team, supposing you're behind the bench of the Rangers, getting only 8 shots and over half the game played, you've got to be concerned. You're just not getting enough shots at the rival netminder. There it is, 23-8, Buffalo leading shots on goal.
Gilbert Perreault, the man who scored the only goal of the game thus far, out to take a face-off in the Ranger zone. Kachuk wins the draw, and Maloney for New York tried to clear it out, failed the first time. It's picked up by Murdoch. Don Murdoch to Vickers on left wing, got it across the line. Schoenfeld breaks it up, and back he comes for Buffalo. Schoenfeld trying to make a play, gets it again over to Richard Martin. Now to Perreault, a shot. Davidson the save. Martin the drive on the rebound, and it deflects wide of the goal, and Vickers shot it to center. Murdoch had a poke at it, he missed it. Richard Martin back for Buffalo. At center to Schoenfeld. Into Robert. Rainy Robert shoots, and he fires it wide. Now Martin, unable to hold it in at the point, drops it back to Schoenfeld. Here's Jim Schoenfeld for Robert. Gives it to Schoenfeld again, crosses the red line, shoots it into the Ranger zone. And Vadnais takes over. To Hickey, number 16. He leaves it for Esposito. Fired it back for Hickey. Buffalo dumps it back to center, and Dave Maloney has it. Maloney for New York, into Esposito. Shoots one, and it's 4 or 5 feet wide of the net. Perreault starts back with Martin. Headmans to Martin. Martin shot, hit Vadnais. Vadnais cleared it on the boards, and Lucien DeBlois for New York gives it to Esposito off his stick. Corab to Danny Gare. Now to center ice, picked up by Perreault. Perreault in across the line for Martin. He's pulled down. Going to be a penalty on the play against New York for pulling down Richard Martin.
Don Orrery going to the box. Live from the Odd in Buffalo, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
We know that bankers...
Box, he'll be shaking his head because he was, well, we're not going to call him the GOAT, but he was there when Perreault came down, swept around him for the only goal of the game, and now he has taken a penalty here for holding at 14-10.
They pull down Richard Martin. Orrery in the penalty box, and the Sabres with the man advantage. Loose gets the draw. They work it to Danny Gare. Now to Corab. Shoots one, and Davidson just got a skate on it. Gare, number 18. Back to Corab. Shooting. Davidson to save. Rebound. Greg Ramsey on the rebound.
Davidson came up big on one stop, but the Buffalo Sabres have been all over the Rangers the past few minutes, and now with Orrery off for holding, they score on the power play. Ramsey from the slot slips it underneath Davidson, and the Buffalo Sabres lead it 2-0. First shot was blocked. Lewis is standing by, but Ramsey slid it in as Davidson went for a sprawl. 2-0. Sabres in front. The crowd up again. Power play goal.
So the penalty to Orrery was costly. Ramsey, his first of the playoffs at 14-23. A power play goal for Buffalo, and it's 2-0 for the Sabres. Now Dillon with Hickey and Duguay up front for New York. Dillon drops it back into his zone to Maloney over on right wing for Carl Vadnais. Vadnais gets it into the Buffalo zone. Schoenfeld cleared it away. Now here comes Don Luce for Buffalo over to Gare, who had it roll off a stick. And Maloney starts back for New York to Dillon at center. Schoenfeld intercepts that. Dumps it right back into the Ranger zone. Vadnais back to get it, and it's an icing call against the Buffalo Sabres.
Corab And Gare drew assists on the goal by Craig Ramsey, his first of the playoffs at 14:23. We mentioned a power play. There's the shot by Korab, and Ramsey fading away from the puck slid it low behind Davidson. He scored 28 goals over the regular season. Just a little man, but a very big man here in Buffalo.
Buffalo 2, Rangers nothing. 5:12 left in the second period. Esposito gets the puck into the corner. Here's Schoenfeld on the boards for McAdam. He's tied up by Esposito. Now Schoenfeld comes in and they hold it, and we'll have another face-off in the Buffalo zone. Well, the Rangers have gone 12 games without a victory here in Buffalo. They have not won here since November 22nd, 1973. And they have fallen behind 2-0. As we look at Lucien Deblois, one of 2 first-round draft choices in the Ranger lineup, picked up in the amateur draft last spring. The other is Duguay. Here is Rick Sealing, a first-round draft choice for Buffalo. In across the Ranger lineup, backhander Davidson the save. Sealing centers, and Esposito gets it for New York to Dave Maloney. Now to Deblois. Off his stick, and Schoenfeld flips it to the New York line, taken by Badney. Over on left wing to Dan Newman. Newman hammered against the boards by Sealing. Gabriel feeds it ahead to McAdam. Gary McAdam centers it, and Badney cleared it away. Now Deblois for New York. The number 77, Phil Esposito. Esposito trying to work around Schoenfeld. Centers it. Edwards makes the save, then held the puck, and Esposito and Schoenfeld pushing one another in the corner.
Live from the Odd in Buffalo, the Stanley Cup playoffs. Buffalo Sabres have never lost a preliminary round. Last year they defeated Minnesota in 2 games. In '76 they had a 2-win, 2 overtime games to eliminate St. Louis 2-1.
Here they are leading New York 2-0 on second period goals by Gilbert Perreault and Craig Ramsey. And again, the Sabres holding a wide edge in play. They have outshot the Rangers 28-8 at this point in the game. Height in behind his own goal for Buffalo. Bill Height bangs on the puck as he went to pass it. Now gets it to Korab at center ice to number 19, Smith. Derek Smith to Gare. Shoots, he scores! Gare beats Davidson on the short side, and it's 3-0.
What a pass from Smith to Gare, and what a shot from Gare. Now the Sabres have a commanding lead, 3-0 over the Rangers as time runs down here in the second period. Good passing by the Sabres. Their passing was a little sloppy in the first period. There's the lead pass. Now Smith coming over, spots Gare cutting in from the right side, and boy, he can break. And the shot on its way finds the target. Buffalo moves in front 3-0 as Gare collects first an assist on Ramsey's goal, then comes back with a score of his own.
Gare's second to the playoffs. The time 15:56. It is 3-0 Buffalo as Gare rifled it by Davidson on the short side. Now back come the Rangers. Vickers the shot that's 3 or 4 feet wide of the net. Greshner for New York flipped it along the boards. Murdoch tied up by Richard Martin. Murdoch gets loose, centered. Vickers had a shot at it, but Korab tied him up. Here's Jerry Korab. Played it off the boards to center. Greshner is there for New York. Cleared it. Now Perreault for Buffalo. Here's Perreault. Over to Martin. Martin trying to get it back to Perreault, but Tkachuk intercepts. Tkachuk to Murdoch. He's checked by Korab. Now Parrish at center for New York. Shot it. Korab cleared it. Tkachuk dumps it back into the Buffalo zone. Edwards is there. Shot it on the boards. Vickers holding it in. Here's Parrish at the point. His shot wide of the net. Now Martin for Buffalo. To Bill Height behind the net. Over on right wing. Robert couldn't get it out. Here is Gilbert Perreault. Perreault started this Buffalo attack earlier in this period. Leaves it for Korab. Back to Perreault on left wing at center. Perreault checked by Tkachuk. He gives it to Dave Parrish. Parrish shot it to center. Right onto Perreault's stick. Fanned on it, now picks it up. Here's Perreault. Gives to Korab. Sabres with a 3-0 lead. Flip it ahead for Perreault at the Ranger blue line, and it's called an offside.
Well, scoring in hockey is such an unpredictable thing. The Sabres might have picked up 6 goals in the very first period when they had a tremendous edge. Instead, they got nothing. Here's a great pass from Korab up to Derek Smith. And the other pass coming up shortly as Gare is breaking down the right side. He's coming into your picture now. There he is. And we'll get a good look at this this scoring shot. He didn't have more than 3 or 4 inches there on that side, but Gare picked the corner, and the Sabres have picked up 3 goals in this second period.
Gare from Smith and Korab, the scoring play. It is 3-0. Puck shot to center ice by Buffalo. Going back to get it is Don Orey. Orey being forechecked by Rick Sealing, cleared it on the boards. Now Gary McAdam intercepts. Got it behind the New York goal, and Badney takes over. Badney out on the wing for Heaslip. He dropped it back for Don Orey. Orey cleared it across the line, and it's offside at the Buffalo Sabres blue line.
Orey won't feel too happy when he goes off to the dressing room after this period with 2:12 remaining. And we're going to be hearing from a couple of experts during the intermission. Leap and Lou from the Sioux, Lou Nanny, and Howie Meeker will be back.
Leap and Lou from the Sioux, huh?
That's his name. General Manager Lou.
Puck cleared into the Ranger zone. Back is Badney, and as he touches it, we get an icing call against the Buffalo Sabres and a face-off back in the Buffalo zone.
Carol Vadney, number 5. Yeah, Leap and Lou, general manager of the Minnesota North Stars. He's got number 1 draft choice this year, Dan. He's going after Big Bob Smith of the Ottawa Juniors, 6'4".
Esposito against Savard. Face off in the Buffalo zone to the right of Edwards. 2:02 left in the second period. From the face-off, Gabremont, number 22 for Buffalo. Lead pass to Sealing on right wing. He shoots one that goes wide of the net. Now McAdam back of the net to Sealing. Center to Savard over top of the goal. Esposito in the corner. And Gary McAdam fighting for it. McAdam taken out of the play by Nick Poutillo, who sees his first action. Now McAdam missed a check from Heaslip. Here's Greshner for New York. Over on right wing for Heaslip. Heaslip to number 22, Poutillo. He got to the center race red line. Now Heaslip ran into the Buffalo player. Savard, here's McAdam with a shot that's blocked by Maloney. And Maloney takes over for New York, giving it to Esposito. Phil Esposito working out of his own zone, got to center, knocked down there by Luce and cleared back into the Ranger zone, centered by Gare and cleared away by Esposito. Now Ramsey and Heaslip fight for it. Mark Heaslip to Esposito, who's pulled down. Going to be a penalty here against Buffalo. Then Poutillo runs into Don Luce. Now Poutillo and Schoenfeld have to be separated by the linesman.
They glare at each other. Let's catch that penalty on the replay. Luce. Down goes the Ranger player, and Luce leaps over him and then heads for the penalty box.
Esposito went down like a giant redwood.
Timber. 1:01 to play, second period. Sabres lead it 3-0.
2 minutes for hooking.
Hooking penalty against Don Luce.
The time 18:59.
At 18:59, and the Rangers, who have fallen behind 3-0, have a power play opportunity here. The goals for Buffalo: Gilbert Perreault unassisted at 8:04. Then Ramsey from Korab and Gare on a power play at 14:23, and then Gare from Korab and Smith at 15:56. All in this, the second period, and it's 3-0 Buffalo. Vickers and Korab doing a little pushing and shoving as they get ready for the face-off. Won by the Buffalo player Derek Smith, who gets it to Schoenfeld. Schoenfeld for the Sabres clears at the link to the ice. They are shorthanded. Here's Badney back for New York. Rangers with 78 power play goals over the regular season. Here's Pat Hickey. Tries to center, gets it himself. He shoots, he scores! Hickey! And the Ranger power play clicks to put them back into the picture.
Hickey scored 40 goals during the regular season. Now, with less than a minute to play, with the man advantage, loose in the box, the Rangers get on the score sheet. A big goal late in the second period. It puts them back into the hockey game. After trailing 3-0, it's now 3-1. A deflection there. Edwards looking down, wondering how in the world that got behind him, as he apparently had that corner well guarded. Hickey put it through somehow, and it's 3-1.
Hickey's second goal of the playoffs. A power play goal for the Rangers. Schoenfeld blocked his first shot. He got the second and beat the rookie goaltender Edwards. Now the puck shot into the New York
By
zone.
number 16,
And
Pat Hickey. Assist number 77.
Goes up over the glass, and we're going to have a face-off in the Ranger zone.
Number 5, Carol Vadney.
Esposito and Vadney. Assist on the goal by Pat Hickey at 19:18 of the second period.
Face-off in the New York zone. Dillon gets the draw in behind his own goal to Maloney. Teams at full strength again. Maloney tied up and forechecked by Ramsey. Now they work it to Duguay on right wing. Bill Height ties him up. Ramsey comes over into the corner to Don Luce. Luce flipped it in front. No one there for Buffalo, and Hickey gives it to Dillon. Dillon to Duguay on right wing. Back to Dillon. Poked it in front. Edwards comes out, grabs the puck, and then Gare takes Dillon out of the play behind the net, and up go the sticks. And in come the linesmen. With Gare and Wayne Dillon being separated. Gare not too happy with the way Dillon kept on coming for a puck that he thought the goaltender Edwards had well covered.
Dillon and Hickey picked up by the Rangers from the Toronto Toros of the WHA a couple of seasons back. Dillon, number 9, used sparingly by New York this season. With the Toros as an 18-year-old, he was late for the team bus once, Dan, and the coach said he'd heard everything when Dillon said, well, the teacher kept me in after school.
That last scoring play, the Rangers' first goal, Hickey from Esposito and Vadney, a power play at 19:18 of the second period. And that cuts the Buffalo lead to 3-1. Dillon, number 9, ready for the face-off against Don Luce. 8 seconds left in the period. Luce wins the draw. Schoenfeld trying to clear it, held in by Murdoch. But now Ramsey at center ice to Gare. Long shot. Davidson the save, and there's the buzzer to end the second period. And in the second period of play, the Buffalo Sabres had 15 shots on goal to 6 for the Rangers on the game. Buffalo outshooting the Rangers 30-9.
Thank you, Howie. Thank you, Dave. Brian McFarland with Dan Kelly in the broadcast booth. John Ziegler, NHL president, just stopped by to say hello. The first U.S. president in the 61-year history of the league. He succeeded Clarence Campbell recently, who served for 31 years as NHL president. Dan?
3-1, Buffalo leading all the scoring in that second period. A scoreless first period. Gilbert Perreault scored unassisted at 8:04 to make it 1-0 Buffalo. Craig Ramsey from Korab and Gare at 14:23 on a power play to make it 2-0. Then Gare from Korab and Smith at 15:56 to make it 3-0. And then the Pat Hickey goal for the Rangers from Esposito and Vadney at 19:18 to cut the Buffalo lead to 3-1. Shots on goal in the game. To this point, Buffalo outshooting the Rangers 30-9. 15-3 in the first period, and then 15-6 in the second period. Don Edwards, a busy man this season in the National Hockey League, played more minutes and more games than any other goaltender. And John Davidson, a busy first 2 periods here tonight.
Edwards likes that Lou Rawls music.
Here we go, third period. Buffalo leading 3-1, and Schoenfeld flips the puck into the Ranger zone. Vadney back to get it, being forechecked by Ramsey. Now Dillon back to help out. Here's Schoenfeld closing in, a backhander that hit the side of the net. Luce behind the goal. Vadney trying to clear it. Ramsey gets it to Luce, a backhander. Davidson got his glove on it. Dillon tries to clear it and does to Hickey on left wing. And Hickey cleared the zone to center ice. Schoenfeld, number 6. Fires it right back in for Buffalo. Duguay for the Rangers. Getting it back out, picked up by number 9, Dillon. Dillon into Hickey, and that's offside. At the Buffalo line and just offside, or Hickey would have had clear sailing in alone on Edwards.
Well, we mentioned Hickey and Dillon coming from the Toronto Toros. At one time, they thought that Dillon would probably be much the better hockey player in a New York uniform. He had a 30-goal year with the Toros and 29. Hickey's come on very big this year with a 40-goal season. Dillon wearing the protection over the face.
We'll have a face-off at the Buffalo Sabre blue line. Don Edwards, the rookie goaltender. Kachuk is out with Murdoch and Vickers. They're out against the Savard, McAdam, and Rick Sealing line for Buffalo. Greshner, a long shot wide of the Buffalo goal. Korab is back to get it to Rick Sealing. He can't get by Farish, now does, and passes to Andre Savard. Over to Gary McAdam. Kachuk checked him. Murdoch comes up with the puck and flipped it off the boards to center ice. Here's Korab. Scoops it high in the air. Davidson comes out of there about 30 feet and caught the shot and held onto it. And we'll have a face-off in the New York Rangers zone. 6'3" John Davidson, former first draft choice of the St. Louis Blues and then later traded to the New York Rangers. Wayne Thomas played in game 1 of this series for New York. Davidson in game 2 and Davidson here in game 3. Puck comes to center ice. Bill Height has it for Rick Sealing. He got it in across. Now McAdam steals it, moves in, a backhander, and Davidson sprawled and made the save. And McAdam went sliding into the net, and Davidson appears to be shaken up.
I think that's the second time that McAdam's been netted here tonight. Davidson getting up slowly now. Watch again as the play develops. A deflection right there. McAdam moving in, gets a backhand shot of sorts against Davidson, then flies over him into the net. Dan, if Buffalo should win here tonight, they would advance against Philadelphia. The Islanders would play Toronto. It would be Boston versus Chicago, and Montreal would meet Detroit.
And if the Rangers come back, we'll tell you more about that later. It gets complicated. Here's Sparish in behind the Ranger goal, number 3 to Ron Greshner, who overskates the puck, then cleared it to center to Murdoch. He tried to feed it to Vickers. Here's Sparish getting it to Vickers, to Kachuk, but Height breaks it up. Lead pass to Rick Sealing. Davidson out of the net to clear it away. Now Farish to Vickers on left wing. Steve Vickers gives it to Murdoch. Shoots one. Edwards the save. Here's Kachuk trying to drop it back. Sealing for Buffalo clears it down into the Ranger zone. And Badney, number 5, is back after it. Carol Badney. Stick handling. Now flips it along the boards into the center ice area. Schoenfeld at the Buffalo line. Checked by Kachuk. Schoenfeld got it back again. Tried to set up McAdam. Now here's Schoenfeld again. Over to Jocelyn Gabremar. Head to Rick Sealing. Now to Andre Savard. Backhander. Davidson got a piece of it. Savard centers to Schoenfeld. Over to Gabremar. Shooting, and he fires wide. Schoenfeld at the other point. Behind the net to Savard. Badney ties him up. Now Kachuk is in there along with Badney, and they hold it. And the faceoff will be in the Ranger zone.
From the odd, this is Stanley Cup 78.
With Brian McFarland at Memorial Auditorium, Buffalo, New York, 17:37 left in regulation time. 3-1 game. Here's Martin for Buffalo, a backhander that's blocked at the defense. Now Newman trying to clear it out, picked up by Badney. Here's Carol Badney. Long slap shot goes off Gabremar wide of the net. Richard Martin taken out of the play by Deblois, but got it to Schoenfeld, who clears it to center. And Don Ori has to go back for it. Davidson gives it to Ori. He's being tied up on the play by Rainey Robert. Badney with the loose puck. Now Richard Martin after him. Badney gets it to Esposito in the corner. Bill Esposito drops it to Badney. Rangers trail 3-1. Badney passes to Don Ori. Ori on right wing to Deblois. Deblois into the Buffalo zone. Checked by Schoenfeld. Here's Schoenfeld. Leads it on left wing to Martin. Now to Perreault. Perreault down the middle. Runs into Davidson, and they both crash into the goal. And back comes Badney. Here's Richard Martin getting a shot. Davidson just got up. Makes the save. Rebound. And Davidson stopped Perreault. And you will not see more fierce action around a goal crease than we've just seen.
Perreault taking his time, retrieving his hockey stick. Like McAdam, he went into the net heavily behind Davidson. Perreault, the very elusive forward with the Sabres, tripped up by Vadnais, bowls over Davidson, then he got up quickly and very nearly scored seconds later. Now, rebound comes right out. Perreault snaps it up, tries to move in front, and he very nearly slipped it through the legs of big John Davidson.
You notice that Martin waited long enough for Perreault to get out of the goal crease before he let that shot go. Here is a loose puck now. Down loose back of the net, checked by Dillon. Duguay for the Rangers trying to clear it. Loose held it in for Buffalo. To Danny Gare. Gare dropped it back. It comes to center. And it is taken by Jerry Korab. Here's Korab for Buffalo. On right wing to Gare. Gare trying to slide it in front. Ferris for New York is there. Gets it to Duguay, who shot it to center. Korab for Buffalo intercepting. Jerry Korab flips the puck into the New York zone. Back is Dave Parrish. Over on left wing to Hickey. Puck comes back into the Buffalo zone, and Jocelyn Gabremont takes over, number 22. Gabremont centered to Gare to Don Luce, and that just failed to click. Luce racing in. Checked by Parrish. Duguay, number 10 for New York, to Hickey. Intercepted by Gabremont. Fired it. It hit the referee, Bob Myers. Now Dillon lost it to Gare, who clears it into the Ranger zone. Dave Maloney, number 26, starts back. Maloney missed a check from Schoenfeld, and the play is offside at the Buffalo blue line.
Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Odd in Buffalo.
The crest of the Buffalo Sabres here at Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo, New York. Sabres leading 3-1, 15-18. Left in regulation time. Schoenfeld for Buffalo to Gabremont. Feeds it to Savard off his skate, and Gary McAdam shoots it into the Ranger zone. Back after it is Vadnais. Vadnais for New York, number 5, works his way out of his own zone. Stick handles to center, shoots it into the Sabres end of the rink. McAdam back to get it, checked by Murdoch. Here's Kachuk. Stick handling around to Murdoch. He centered it. Edwards cleared it away, and McAdam feeds it to Rick Sealing. Here's a one-on-one break. Sealing against Dory. Sealing centering it to Savard, who was tied up by Murdoch, who got back in a hurry. And the puck is cleared to center ice by the Rangers. An offside pass over 2 lines, and the face-off will be back in the Buffalo zone.
Good back checking by Murdoch as we look at Marcel Pronovost, who's played on 5 Stanley Cup winning teams. How he'd love to be on one as a coach. And there's Jean-Guy Talbot, the Ranger coach. He was a member of 7 Stanley Cup winning teams. And that reminds us that if New York should fight back here and win, they would advance against Montreal in the next series. Most people think Scotty Bowman just has to open the gate and say sick him to win the Stanley Cup this year, but it could be tougher than that.
Canadians have won the Cup twice in a row. Picks up from the face-off, and a great glove and sprawling save by Edwards. And now pushing and shoving the goal. Everyone is into it, including the 2 linesmen trying to separate the fellas in blue from the fellas in white.
Close call there against Don Edwards, the rookie netminder. Played 25 games last year, but still eligible for the rookie award. Good glove stop. Oh, his puppy dog would be proud of that one.
Esposito with Deblois Newman for New York against the French connection line for Buffalo. Perreault, Robert, and Martin. Here's a loose puck near the Buffalo goal. Edwards comes sliding out, covers up on it, and we'll have another face-off in the Buffalo zone. This time to the left of Edwards.
Just to keep you abreast of the possibilities in the playoffs ahead, I mentioned if New York won tonight, they'd meet Montreal. Boston would then play Detroit. The Islanders against Chicago, and Philadelphia would meet Toronto.
Deblois, number 23, out on right wing with Esposito and Newman. Here's Greshner trying to flip it in front. Does Newman a poke at it? Blocked at the defense, and height for Buffalo. Played it off the boards into the Ranger zone. Here's Maloney back to get it, trying to clear it. He gets it to Deblois. Feeds to center ice. Dan Newman picks it up. Skated off and taken out of the play by Korab. And height for Buffalo cleared it around on the boards. Richard Martin shot at the center. Here's number 26 for the Rangers, Dave Maloney. Feeding it ahead. Bill Height knocked it down at the Buffalo line. Maloney again at center for New York. Feeds it to Newman. Poked away by Height. Now Maloney over on left wing to Newman. Newman and Korab fight for it, and it's cleared to center ice. Esposito to Vadnais. Slides it along the boards in behind the Buffalo goal. Bill Height back after it. On right wing for Robert. He's tied up by Hickey. Robert shot at the center. Now Don Orey clearing it. Here's Deblois. Robert checked him. Orey lead pass to Esposito. Tries to get it into the Buffalo zone. Does, but Gilbert Perreault is there for the Sabres. Here's Perreault on right wing to Robert. Now to Martin, to Perreault. Across the line, and Badney breaks it up. Schoenfeld for Buffalo. Fires it into the Ranger zone. Davidson steers it to the corner to Badney. Badney leads a four-man rush to center ice. Trying to get around Schoenfeld, who broke it up. And Schoenfeld then is knocked down by Hickey, but got it to Gabremont. On right wing to Danny Gare. Shoots wide. It was off Don Ory's stick. Up over the glass.
This is Stanley Cup 78 from the odd in Buffalo.
3, Rangers 1. Dillon against Don Luce on the face-off in the New York zone. Now Gare doing some pushing with Pat Hickey. Overcome the linesman. In comes Jim Schoenfeld to say something to Hickey.
Those fellas are in great shape. Gare is what a compact little man he is. And Hickey, I saw him before the game, Dan. Shook hands with him. I thought he'd crushed all my fingers. He really has a mitt.
He and Gare continue to have some words. Face off in the Ranger zone. Ron Duguay, number 10 for New York, cleared it. Ramsey knocked it down. Ramsey a shot at a weak one, and Davidson steered it to the corner. Here's Gare taken out of the play by Hickey. Now Gabremont at the point. Shooting, Davidson the save. And Hickey gets it for New York. Hickey to center ice to Dillon. Now to Duguay on right wing, and Schoenfeld poked it away. Badney works it to Duguay for Hickey. Hickey trying to get away from Schoenfeld. Hickey has lost his helmet. Checked by Schoenfeld, and back comes Don Luce. Luce shoots one, and it's high and wide and goes up over the glass. And that will give Hickey a chance to pick up his helmet.
This crowd here in a very happy mood at this point with 12:05 to play. The Rangers started their youth movement under John Ferguson. They have the good young ones and players like Duguay, Deblois, and Hickey, and they've got those two big Swedes coming in next year from Winnipeg, Anders Hedberg and Ulf Nilsson. They just opened the vault and all the money tumbled out and fell into the pockets of the Swedes, and that'll make a difference.
Here is Bill Height with a shot that's deflected. Davidson caught it. Was going to clear it, but then the whistle blows, so we'll have a face-off even deeper in the Ranger zone. Kachuk with Murdoch and Bickers for the Rangers against Savard, McAdam, and Rick Sealing for Buffalo. Kachuk wins the face-off, and Gressner has the puck for New York. Ron Gressner, number 4. Fine offensive defenseman for New York. In across the line, lets a shot go that's blocked by Sealing. Sealing cleared it to Savard. Back behind the net now for number 4, Jerry Korab. Korab to Gary McAdam. That goes all the way down the ice. Dave Maloney going back for New York, and as he touches it, we have an icing call against Buffalo.
With the score, the Sabres 3, the Rangers 1. This is Stanley Cup 78.
Savard and Kachuk on a face-off to the left of the Buffalo goal. Linesman Leon Stickle trying to get everyone in position before he drops the puck, and now Savard is being taken out of the face-off. Rick Sealing will take the draw against Kachuk. Puck dropped. Kachuk got the puck, but it's taken by Bill Height. Height trying to clear it, held in by Gressner. Now to Murdoch, to Vickers. Shoots, oh, and Vickers fired it just wide. Back is Andre Savard to center ice. Tied up by Gressner. Savard spins away. Savard drops it to Bill Height, to Jerry Korab. Now to Height. Height comes to center, clears it into the New York zone. Maloney back after it for the Rangers. Dave Maloney up the middle to Kachuk, who fires it into the Buffalo zone. Edwards cleared it. Here's Kachuk after it. He centers off Korab's skate and picked up by Sealing. To McAdam at center. McAdam gets around the defense. Davidson out of the net to break it up. Now Vickers trying to shoot it out of there, and does. Korab has to go back for Buffalo. Oh, here's McAdam, and Maloney in a scrap back inside the blue line.
Gloves are off, the stick's on the ice, and now the helmet flies off as well. Maloney and McAdam throwing punches, and then they fall to the ice. And that'll be the end of that. Now the linesman is there. He's on the bottom. And they head to the penalty box. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Odd in Buffalo. So we have 5-minute fighting penalties handed out here to McAdam and Maloney as they went in heavily against the boards, and that's when the tempers were a little strained, and they went at it with the fists at 9:14.
Coincidental major penalties against the two players involved. The team's not shorthanded, just without their services. Puck in the New York zone and cleared to center ice by Deblois. Deblois picks it up again. Taken out of the play by Schoenfeld, and the play is offside at the Buffalo blue line. This is game 3 of a best 2 of 3 series. I believe they are only the 3rd and 4th major penalties we've had in this series. But the hitting as the game has been going on, Brian, has been getting a little more fierce with each passing check.
You see the Rangers record here in Buffalo, and you're right. And Phil Esposito said not long ago, if they let us play with Bruins, we'd still have fights.
Puck is cleared into the Buffalo zone. Now along the boards. Here's Badney at the point. Shoots one, and it's blocked. And back comes Smith for Buffalo. Number 19, Derek Smith to Terry Martin. He was taken out of the play. And Newman starts back for New York. Newman on right wing. Cleared it behind the goal. Edwards is there to shoot it away. Schoenfeld for the Sabres. For Gare. Gare chased back by Don Orey. Drops it back to Schoenfeld. Schoenfeld plays it into the center ice area to Terry Martin, and that's an offside pass from inside the Buffalo blue line to the Rangers side of center ice.
Dan, it's hard to believe, but the Rangers have had only 2 shots on goal in this 3rd period, only 11 over the full course of the game with 9:53 to play. I know Roger Nilsson, the bright young coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, believes in scoring chances as opposed to shots on goal, but that is really speaks well for the Buffalo defenders and the forwards who've been coming back tonight and just not letting the Rangers get those shots at Edwards.
Meanwhile, as you saw, the Sabres have had 38 shots at John Davidson. 38-11, the shots on goal in favor of Buffalo. Puck cleared to center ice. Greshner for the Rangers. Passes to Dillon. Dillon checked by Height. Now Wayne Dillon gets it again for New York. Dillon, number 9. Got it to the Buffalo line. Height cleared it away, and here comes Big Jerry Korav. Korav moving into Richard Martin to Korav. Check for the score! Robert! After Korav had been pulled down, Robert was there, and it's 4-1 Buffalo.
Well, Rennie Robert was the first Buffalo Sabre ever to hit 100 points for a season. He's a very key man in a playoff situation as we'll watch this replay develop here. The Sabres moving in once again. This should wrap it up for them. Korav, who had 2 assists in the 2nd period, picks up another here. Martin. And where is Robert? Here he comes now as Korav goes for a spin. Martin and Korav will probably draw the assist.
Well, Dillon had pulled down Korav to ruin his chance, but coming up was Robert, and he scores. Loose puck now in the Buffalo zone. The Rangers center it. Martin and Dillon fight for it. Here's Korav back behind the net for Bill Height. Height on right wing for Robert. Robert checked by Farish. Now Dillon to Hickey at the point, a drive, and that's just wide. Martin's for Buffalo, trying to clear it. Now Perreault picks it up for the Sabres. On right wing, intercepted by Dillon. Dillon flipped it in front. No one was there. And Martin gives it to Perreault at center. Gilbert Perreault, a little slow in getting the pass, so the Sabres might have had a 2-on-1. Back comes Duguay. His shot, and Edwards went to his knees. To make the stop, Martin clears to Robert. Now Korav for Buffalo. Feeds it to Gilbert Perreault. To Robert, back to Perreault. And intercepting is Murdoch for New York. 4-1, the Sabres lead. Schoenfeld to Gabremont. He feeds it back to Jim Schoenfeld. Schoenfeld works to center to Perreault. Perreault working his way in. Check from behind. Orey cleared it. Martin held it in. A shot. That's blocked by Tkachuk, and Tkachuk feeds it off the boards to center ice. Schoenfeld for Buffalo. Flipping it back in, and that's offside at the Ranger blue line.
Live from the Odd in Buffalo, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I'm a music lover, but I'm no engineer. Right, Stanley? The last time I went shopping for stereo, I was so busy checking out the specifications that I didn't have time to listen to the music. So today, I brought Stanley along. He's an audiophile. Right, Stanley?
Underway, the Rangers, Esposito to center ice. Trying to work around, Schoenfeld breaks it up, and back comes Gabremont for the Sabres. Jocelyn Gabremont to Ramsey. He flipped it in front, and it was cleared away by Portillo. Now Buffalo again, Danny Gare. Into the corner to Luce. Luce centers, and Gare couldn't get a stick on it, and here comes Heaslip for the Rangers to Esposito. Esposito, a shot wide of the net. Edwards cleared it away. Schoenfeld. Checked by Heaslip. Here's Schoenfeld for Gare. Gare gives it to Luce. Over to Ramsey. 3-on-2 break, and the play goes offside at the New York Ranger blue line.
Buffalo Sabres leading the New York Rangers 4-1 with 7:12 to play in regulation time. And let's take another look at that fourth Buffalo goal by Rennie Robert. I'm trying to figure out the assists on this play because I think the official score gave assists to Height and Perreault. The time of the goal 10:33, but Martin was there. Korab was moving in, but the big thing from a Buffalo standpoint is the goal itself, scored by Rennie Robert.
4-1, 7:12 left in regulation time. Here's Korab for Buffalo. Feeds it into the center ice area. Now Rick Sealing shoots it back into the Ranger zone. Back is rookie defenseman Mario Marois for New York. He's tied up behind the goal. Now Greshner gets it. Greshner to Mark Heaslip on right wing to Esposito. Esposito into the center ice area. Beating it into Heaslip. Heaslip bumped by Height. They go to the corner. Heaslip takes Height out of the play. Esposito centers. Here's Greshner getting turned around. Couldn't get his shot away. Greshner held it in. Now Savard shot at the center. Number 25. Mario Marois, the rookie for the Rangers, shoots it back in. Rick Sealing is there for Buffalo. Sealing bumped by Heaslip and knocked spinning. Now Portillo for New York. Goes to the corner and is pinned against the boards. Portillo gets the Buffalo player in a headlock. And the linesmen come in there to separate the Ranger player. And the Buffalo player
number
who now gets up.
Martin and number 4, Jerry.
It was Rick Sealing.
Danny, they've now changed the assists on that goal by Robert back to the way it looked on the replay. Martin and Korab draw the assists. You can see them plainly in the picture. Savard has 13 points in Stanley Cup competition. Came to the Sabres in an exchange of free agents for Peter McNabb, who went on to Boston.
6 minutes, 22 seconds left in regulation time. The Buffalo Sabres lead the Rangers 4-1. And the Rangers now fight the clock as well as the Sabres. There's a shot by Marois, the rookie, and Edwards a glove save. Marois, the 4th-round draft choice of New York in the amateur draft out of the Quebec Junior League. Seeing his first Stanley Cup action and tested Edwards with a good shot.
Winning the faceoff, so important there to get those shots away.
Now back to the live action. Smith couldn't get it out of his own zone. Here's Duguay for New York, a backhander, and Edwards went to his knees, grabbed the puck, and held on. And it's an uphill battle right now, Mr. McFarland, for the New York Rangers.
Well,
you're down to 6:07 left in regulation time. You're trailing by 3 goals.
And they've only had 14 shots on goal. They just took their 14th seconds ago, and you just can't expect to win a playoff game with that little shooting.
The man who started it all for Buffalo, Gilbert Perreault, wins the draw to Gabremont. He fires it out to center ice. Marois there, tied up by Richard Martin. Martin fell, and back comes Greshner for Duguay. Schoenfeld had it. It's cleared back in by the Rangers and offside at the Buffalo blue line. Rangers with Dillon, Hickey, and Duguay on the forward line. Now Ore and Vadnais on defense. The French connection up front for Buffalo with Gabremont and Schoenfeld on their defense. Here's Schoenfeld to Gabremont, flipping it on right wing for Robert. Now to Schoenfeld. On left wing to Martin. Martin, number 7, trying to make a play. Back to Gabremont. Shooting, and Davidson steers it away. Martin back to the goal to Perreault. Perreault trying to make a play. Dillon along the boards, clears it out for Duguay. And number 10, Ron Duguay, slips it ahead to Hickey, skated off and knocked down by Gabremont. And the Sabres clear it to center ice. Vadnais shot it back in. Right on to Gabriel's stick to Perreault. Here is Perreault trying to work around O'Reilly. Drops it to Robert. A drive. Davidson the save on Rainey Robert. And that almost knocked him right back through the net. Here's Bickers for Duguay. His shot. Edwards the save. Now Ori shot it back in after the puck had come outside the line, and it's offside at the Buffalo blue line.
Well, looking ahead to the next round, it'll be Detroit or the Rangers at Montreal. That'll be seen nationally. And the Toronto Maple Leafs will play either the Islanders or Philadelphia. Looks like the Islanders right now. Fans in Southern Ontario can see that action.
Four minutes, 58 seconds left in regulation time. Buffalo 4, New York 1. Game 3 of a 3-game series in the first round of Stanley Cup play. The winner to advance, the losers to suddenly end their season. Here's Ori in the corner in his own zone. Now Ramsey in there to help out Loose with the forechecking, but the Rangers, Murdoch got it to center ice. Korab back in the Buffalo zone to Bill Height. Height feeds it to Ramsey, broken up now by Badney. Badney to center ice, set up Kachuk. Here's Korab. He tried to clear it in. Ori knocked it down. Well, it's handed right back to Don Ori over to Carol Badney. Badney played it to the Buffalo line. Bill Height takes over into the center ice area to Gare. Gare to Ramsey. That failed to click. Badney for New York. Shot at the center. Height for the Sabres. Dumps it right back in. Here's Badney. Got it to center. Picked up by Kachuk into Murdoch. He skated off, and Korab clears it back out to center for Buffalo. Now Don Luce for the Sabres. Luce checked by Murdoch. Ramsey is there to get it for Buffalo. He's checked. Luce has it into Ramsey. Ramsey shooting. Davidson steers it aside. Parrish trying to clear it, and now it's Badney. Here's Badney for the Rangers. Shooting it to center. Schoenfeld intercepts, picked up by Kachuk. His long shot handled easily by Edwards. Don Luce is back to get it. Buffalo leading 4-1. Luce to Schoenfeld. Checked by Esposito. Schoenfeld then does clear on the second try to center. McAdam steals it from Greshner. Here's McAdam, tied up by Parrish and taken out of the play. They fight for it on the boards in the Ranger zone, and we'll have a face-off with 3:16 left in regulation time, and Buffalo leading 4-1.
And it looks like the Buffalo Sabres are going to advance now to the next round of the playoffs. But John Ferguson and John Guy Talbot can take pride in the Rangers. This is not a team on the wane, but a team perhaps on its way, with fresh young talent moving in next year and some good young talent on the ice right now.
Sabres leading 4-1. They have outshot the Rangers 42-16 in the game. Here's Savard on the face-off to Rick Sealing. His pass intercepted by Parrish, who shot it to center. Now Schoenfeld shooting it away. Greshner back for New York. Over to Parrish. Dave Parrish, number 3, crosses center, shoots it into the Buffalo zone. Savard trying to clear it. Here's Esposito, tied up by Schoenfeld. Now they hold it along the boards, and the faceoff will be in the Buffalo zone with now less than 3 minutes. 2:53 left in regulation time.
Rangers up to 16 shots on goal now. I don't think that's a record for fewest shots, Dan. As if memory serves, a couple of years ago, Chicago went into L.A., won the game 1-0, and had only 10 shots on goal. But I'm going strictly from memory now. I could be corrected.
Here's Savard against Esposito. Marois shot blocked at the defense, and McAdam starts back for Buffalo on right wing. Trying to get it by Maloney. Maloney takes it away from him. Feeds it to Esposito. Now to center ice for Nick Potillo, number 22. Potillo dropping it back for Maloney. On right wing for Marois. He shoots it around on the boards. Rick Sealing is there. Couldn't get it, and it comes to center. Maloney to Marois. Mario Marois played it off the boards to Deblois. Goes all the way into the Buffalo zone. And Gabriel is back to touch it, and icing against the Rangers. Now with 2:20 left.
And if Buffalo hangs on to win this game, they lead by 3 with 2:20 on the clock. They'll advance against Philadelphia starting Monday night. The Islanders will play the Toronto Maple Leafs, who swept their series with Los Angeles. It'll be Boston at Chicago, and the Montreal Canadiens will swing into action in defense of their Stanley Cup win of last year, playing Detroit.
Here's Robert for Buffalo, tied up on the boards by Duguay. And they hold it against the boards, and we'll have another face-off in the New York zone.
What a Cinderella story that's been in Detroit this year, as Ted Lindsay took hold of that club, got himself a great coach in Bobby Crom and some young legs like Dale McCourt and Reed Larson, and they've been the real surprise club.
And isn't it great to see that attendance at the Olympia?
Right.
Puck in behind the Ranger goal. They work it out to Duguay, who comes to center ice, trying to work around Bill Height. Duguay tied up by Robert, squeezed out of the play by Height, and Korab has it. Korab slides it into the center ice area. 1:50 to play. Here's Marois for the Rangers. Shoots it back into the Buffalo zone. Perreault for the Sabres. In behind the net for Jerry Korab. Korab to Martin on left wing. Richard Martin to Robert. Here's Robert. Works across the line, but Perreault had been dragged in ahead of the play by the Ranger defense and put the play offside at the New York blue line.
Sometimes that's the only way to stop Perreault. Just pull his skates right out from under him and drag him down the ice. Richard Martin stopped shy of the 300 goal mark for his career. It stopped at 298 as the season came to a close, the regular schedule. He'll get it early next year, no doubt.
Loose puck from the face-off taken by Vadnais. Vadnais on right wing to center ice. Got it into the Buffalo zone. Height cleared it back. Here's Don Ory, a long shot. Edwards makes the save, and Jerry Korab takes over. Korab, number 4. King Kong, as he's nicknamed, flips it to center ice. Vadnais for the Rangers, shooting it back in, and it's offside at the Buffalo blue line. And we have 1:09 to play, and the Sabres appear headed for the next round of Stanley Cup play with a 4-1 lead.
Those fellows from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, like Korab, come up with the good nicknames. King Kong, and well, we call them Leapin' Lou. In other places, they call him Sweet Lou from the Sioux. Lou Nanny.
We've been talking a lot about hockey players tonight, Brian. We should mention our great crew here this evening. We didn't know until late Thursday night there'd be a hockey game or where it would be, and they've done a bang-up job in getting this telecast together, and we acknowledge that and thank them. Less than a minute to play in the game. Here we go with a fight. It's Gare after Vadnais. They have one another in headlocks.
Gare had to take a run at him to get up high enough to start in at it. Gare just a little man, and Vadnais much taller, but you remember they tangled a little bit in the first period, and Gare wouldn't want to injure a hand now at this point. He's got a lot more hockey to play this year. The organist playing I Love You Truly. Leon Stickle, the linesman, locked in embrace with Carol Vadnais. Bob Myers, the referee, looking on.
We have 53 seconds seemingly left in the game and in the season for the Rangers. Sabres 53 seconds away from advancing into the next round of Stanley Cup play with a 4-1 lead, and unless something miraculous happens. And Vadnais and Gare are separated.
What a rematch coming up, Philadelphia and Buffalo. Let's check the beginning of that little eruption there between Danny Gay and Vadnais. Oh, Gare got a stick across the back of the helmet, and he didn't like it. There it is. Vadnais and Gare going to the respective dressing rooms.
So they're finished for the evening after their altercation down in the Ranger zone. We had a scoreless first period here tonight. Gilbert Perreault started the scoring for Buffalo unassisted at 8:04 of the second. Ramsey made it 2-0 from Korab and Gare at 14:23 of the second at a power play. Gare made it 3-0 from Korab and Smith at 15:56 of the second. And then Pat Hickey scored for New York from Esposito and Badney at 19:18 on a power play to cut the Buffalo lead to 3-1. But Robert scored what appeared to be the icing on the cake goal from Martin and Korab here at 10:33 of the third period to make it 4-1, and that's the way it stands at this point.
There's Punch Imlach and Dodo Imlach. Usually they have friends from Toronto here, Harold Ballard and King Clancy. But the seats were taken tonight, I guess. And among the Rangers who have played in this series, Phil Esposito is the leader in points with 111. He picked up one in this game, his first of the series. So all but one were with Chicago and Boston. That places him 10th in the all-time points list. Included in his total are 50 goals. That ranks him 9th in the all-time list. One goal behind Frank Mahovlich. The only active NHL players ahead of Phil in both points and goals. Stan Mikita of Chicago, third with 147 points. Ivan Cournoyer, the Roadrunner of Montreal, with 116 points.
Brian, I was talking about the technical. I'm sure they also probably received majors, although it's rather elementary because we have only 53 seconds left in what appears to be the game, unless there would be overtime, and with a 4-1 score, that, of course, does not seem very likely. Still no announcement. Bob Myers is explaining something to Don Luce.
Crowd singing "Goodbye Rangers" now.
There's some discussion still going on about the penalties. Luce comes out and asks Bob Myers. I think Marcel Pronovo wants some explanation. They've had no announcement. Now Robert goes over to the penalty box. Newman is already in there for the Rangers. Well, they have number 14 posted under the Sabres, but 14 now they're going to switch the other penalty back to the Ranger clock, which is being served by Newman.
They heard you, Dan.
5 minutes for high sticking and 5 minutes for fighting.
Oh, two
Buffalo
majors.
penalties, number 18, Danny Gare. 5 minutes for fighting, 2 minutes for slashing, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct, and a gross misconduct.
Oh, my goodness. That's trouble for Buffalo, as Gare took a gross misconduct penalty plus a 5-minute major plus
Badney,
2 minors.
5 minutes for high sticking and 5 minutes for fighting. Gare, 5 minutes for fighting, 2 minutes for slashing, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct, and a gross misconduct.
So there's the announcements.
19.
And that's why the Sabres, no doubt, were arguing. Don Luce came out 2 or 3 times from the bench. We're down to 53 seconds to play. Ryan, does that mean a suspension?
Well, that's just what I was thinking, Dan. It could very well mean a suspension. It'll go in on the referee's report.
And, of course, Buffalo, in the last minute of play, comes to center for New York, fires it into the Buffalo zone. Esposito there to get it to Potillo. Now Schoenfeld intercepting. Here's Schoenfeld to center ice. Circles back. Schoenfeld to Ramsey. He got it to the line. It's intercepted by Maloney. He clears it to center ice. Marois and Ramsey push at one another. 25 seconds to play in the game. Schoenfeld for Buffalo. Trying to clear it. Clears it to Ramsey. Ramsey flips it to center. 15 seconds left. Now Marois and Ramsey get their sticks up. Here they go. Marois and Craig Ramsey at the Buffalo blue line. Marois trying to throw some uppercuts. Ramsey runs him in against the boards. And the linesman will try and separate Mario Marois and Craig Ramsey.
The Rangers obviously very frustrated, losing 4-1 to Buffalo. And now Mario, well, we have Nick Poitier along with Jim Schoenfeld. A lot of muscle wrapped up there. And Danny, while we have a delay here, let's look at that gross misconduct situation that will now affect Danny Gare. Any person incurring such a penalty shall be suspended for the balance of the game. Well, there was only a few seconds left, and shall incur an automatic fine of $100, and the case shall be referred to the president of the league for further disciplinary action. So it could mean something further.
Now Portillo and Schoenfeld doing a little dance. They're trying to get a hand free to throw some punching as they finally separated Ramsey and Marois. And Portillo and Schoenfeld. Portillo lands some punches. Now Schoenfeld fights back. They go to the ice with Portillo winding up on top, and now in comes Bob Myers.
Oh, a couple of heavyweights throwing heavy lumber there. Portillo and Schoenfeld.
All this occurring with 7 seconds left in the game.
The Sabres really should try to divorce themselves from this. They've got to advance now against Philadelphia, and if you get throwing fists like that, it's easy to crack a knuckle, break a finger, take a stitch or 3. And in Gehr's case, it'll be interesting to see what happens when they decide if there's going to be further punishment for that gross misconduct penalty.
Portillo and Schoenfeld head for their respective dressing rooms.
Another thing, Dan, Gehr as captain is not out there to try to keep some semblance of order there on the Sabres.
All this occurring with 7 seconds left in the hockey game. Buffalo has it wrapped up with a 4-1 lead. Sabres going to move on to the next round of the playoffs against Philadelphia. Toronto will take on the New York Islanders.
Ramsey and Schoenfeld.
Boston and Chicago, and the Montreal Canadiens and the Detroit Red Wings. They will be the next opponents in Stanley Cup play.
I wonder, could Detroit? Well, we'll think about that next week. And they'll be shaking hands here in about 7 seconds after all the fisticuffs. Butch Imlach has seen all of this and much more before. A long career in the NHL, 4 Stanley Cups with Toronto.
5 minutes for fighting.
Portillo, Major. Go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say they're going to be shaking hands, but
to number
rather
25,
bruised knuckles, a lot of them.
Marois, 5 minutes for fighting. Buffalo penalty to number 10, Craig Ramsey, 5 minutes for fighting. Buffalo penalty to number 6, Jim Schoenfeld, 5 minutes for fighting.
Marois, Ramsey, Schoenfeld, Portillo, all 5 minutes fighting penalties. We've had 72 penalty minutes now in the hockey game.
And Schoenfeld, 5 minutes each for fighting. The time,
Now the fans are saying, let's get this over with just 7 seconds left on the clock.
Only 7 seconds remain. Buffalo lead 4-1. And we just had 4 more major penalties assessed. Just time for the face-off, and not much more as Smith for Buffalo cuts behind his own goal. Smith trying to clear the puck, gets it to the corner, and the buzzer goes. The game is over. The Buffalo Sabres defeat the New York Rangers 4-1. They win the series 2-1, and Buffalo now heads on to the next round of Stanley Cup playoff action against the Philadelphia Flyers.
Smith picked up the puck and handed it right away to Don Edwards, the netminder. Schoenfeld and Gehr came back from the dressing room area, and they're all lined up now. Now we have the congratulations from the New York Rangers to the Buffalo Sabres, who advance against the Philadelphia Flyers. They've met in some memorable playoff matchups in the past, and I'm sure it'll be a great one coming up. Captain Danny Gehr back on the ice. Kachuk. Dodo Imlach applauding her Buffalo Sabres, punch watching quietly on.
Final score, the Buffalo Sabres 4, the New York Rangers 1, and Buffalo moves on to play Philadelphia in the next round of the playoffs. In just a moment, our 3-star selection.